Stephen Koprince, Managing Partner of Koprince Law, LLC. I'm here today to talk about an interesting case in which a bid deadline of only 15 hours to submit a revised bid was deemed unacceptable by the GAO. In this case, a procuring agency acted unreasonably by essentially allowing bidders a mere 15 hours to respond to an amended invitation for bids. And the ruling in that case was especially notable in that most of those 15 hours occurred outside normal business hours. This is a recent bid protest decision, and in that decision the GAO confirmed that while agencies do have a significant measure of discretion when it comes to setting deadlines for proposals and revisions to proposals, those deadlines must ultimately be reasonable. This case is called Eastern Forestry. If you want to look it up yourself, the GAO's B number, the docket number, is B411848. The case involved an Army invitation for bids for landscaping services. The IFB was originally issued on July 16, 2015, and the original IFB called for bids to be open at 10 a.m. on July 30, 2015. The IFB required offerers to submit their bids in both electronic and hard copy. On July 23rd, so you've got about a week now before the original bids are due, the Army posted Amendment 2 on the Army Single Face to Industry website. However, Amendment 2 was not posted on the FedBizOps site on July 23rd. In fact, it didn't make its way onto FedBizOps until 7 p.m. on July 29th, less than a day now before the bids were due. At 9:15 a.m. on July 30th, just 45 minutes before bids were due, a company called Eastern Forestry, which had submitted an original proposal, first saw Amendment 2 on FedBizOps. Eastern Forestry was unable to successfully deliver its amended proposal by the 10 a.m. deadline. Eastern Forestry then filed a GAO bid protest, arguing that the response time that it had been given, that 15-hour period, or maybe 45 minutes in Eastern Forestry's estimation, that time was unreasonably short. Now, you might think that the Army would point to the fact that the solicitation amendment had been released on the Army Single Face to Industry website a week earlier, but the Army didn't do that. The Army was likely aware that there have been prior GAO decisions which specifically held that that website, the ASFI website, is not designated as the official government-wide point of entry for solicitations. And that's important. What that means, those GAO decisions regarding Army Single Face to Industry, is that a contractor is not required to be aware of what's posted on that website. Instead, the contractor's obligation is to be aware of what's posted on FedBizOps. Eastern Forestry alleged that it had no idea that Amendment 2 even existed until it was posted on FedBizOps on one day before the solicitation was due. Now, by the way, you might know this, but the ASFI website is no longer active. As of November 1, 2015, it's been taken down, perhaps because of problems like this one. Now, turning back to the protest, the GAO wrote that under the FAR, contracting agencies are to allow a, quote, reasonable period of time for prospective bidders to prepare and submit their bids. And additionally, before issuing an amendment to a solicitation, contracting officials must consider the amount of time remaining until the bid opening and consider whether there is a need to extend that time because of the amendment. In this case, the GAO concluded, Eastern Forestry was not allowed a reasonable time to submit its amended bid. The publication of this Amendment 2 after hours on July 29th effectively left Eastern Forestry with only an hour or two of actual working time to discover the amendment on FedBizOps and revise it and deliver its new proposal. According to the GAO, this was an insufficiently short amount of time. So the GAO sustained Eastern Forestry's protest. This Eastern Forestry case is a good reminder that while procuring agencies do have a measure of discretion when it comes to proposal deadlines, that discretion isn't unlimited. Here, for whatever reason, whether it was a mistake in a post on FedBizOps, or whether the Army contracting officer thought that all the offerers were looking at ASFI, whatever the reason, Eastern Forestry was effectively given a deadline of just a few hours to revise its proposal. And that deadline, as the GAO held, was unreasonably short.